From Significant, this is Crack It in an Hour.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crack It in an Hour. I'm Simon.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Roman.
And for those of you who usually listen, you know the story. It is 1 hour to crack one problem once a week. But this time, it's the holiday special.
Holiday special.
And you decided to do something different, right? We're doing something different here.
Yeah, an entire ASMR episode, apparently.
Oh,
no, don't do it again. I didn't like it.
Special.
Yeah, we're going to do something a little different. And
Yay.
Okay.
maybe we'll talk for 30 minutes. Maybe we'll talk for 40 minutes, knowing us and the fact that we have a couple drinks.
Yeah.
Maybe we're going to talk the whole hour.
It's festive. We
Who
need to have a few
knows?
drinks.
I
It's
have
the
to throw
last
you back.
episode of
Of
the
the
year.
year.
Okay. So no big reveal here on the topic, but I think inevitably after every single episode that we record, I think we spend the next couple weeks sending each other articles,
Right.
like finding social posts that were like, oh my God, I can't believe The Atlantic
Yeah.
is like literally talking about that thing that we just talked about, or here's this really interesting follow-up. And oh my God, I can't believe we didn't talk about this thing on that episode.
It's like Crack It has become the front page of the internet.
Wow. Tagline 2026.
That used to be Reddit.
Yeah,
That's
no,
why.
it's good.
Okay. No, it wasn't.
I think, Simon, you once said culture moves at the speed of Crack It,
There you go.
which is pretty good.
There you go.
See, we're
We're making it happen. We're cultural leaders. But no, I thought it would be really interesting because we do end up like sharing all of these conversations and we see so much online, and God knows we're probably wrong half the time on the things that we talk about. I thought it'd be interesting at the end of the year to actually revisit some of the
Awesome.
episodes
Love
Great.
it.
and talk about new takes, maybe that we've
Ooh.
had since. Maybe you have a different take from what you
Sure.
had before. Maybe you just read something you thought was interesting. Truthfully, I'm not going to spend too much time summarizing each
Yeah.
episode.
summarizing the takes from that episode.
Yeah.
At least
Okay.
not the whole episode. I think, fear not, dear listeners. I think
You'll give a bit of.
I'll give a little context. But I think
Context.
the good thing is that, like, if you haven't listened before, the context isn't that important because we're just going to talk about, I think, the topics that we think
Yeah.
are interesting. I've got 5 of our episodes picked out, but I will acknowledge what our sort of key thesis was, what our key takeaway
Okay.
was for each
Great.
I
episode.
have no recollection of what I said during those
That's
episodes.
great.
So that's going to be great.
That's perfect.
Cool.
I'll at least give you the top. So we're going to talk about aging. It was like one of our
I
early
love that one.
episodes. We're going to talk about the sleep crisis.
Okay.
That was one of our.
Yes.
That was one of our biggest one.
One of our most popular, one of our most heated. I think our first heated one between the three of us, because I think we all have a slightly different stance on
Yes.
on sleep and its importance.
Its role
Yeah.
in our lives and happiness.
We're going to talk about the great tennis versus pickleball debate that we had.
I mean, thank you.
I know,
was
that
my
one
favorite
made the top
subject.
five.
It made the top 5. I think I just wanted to
Shocked.
toss a
Yeah.
tennis ball over
There
the
you
net.
go. Okay.
Well, I don't know. Dating. I want to talk about dating again because I feel, Simon, you actually weren't with us on that episode, but also I've seen so many things about dating since
great.
that episode. And I think we should revisit the college episode.
Okay.
Is college worth it? Because I think there's been a lot of interesting
Yes.
Yes.
conversation around that
Yes.
as well. So that's it. I may have a little surprise rapid fire use your brain moment at the end here. So
All right.
Using our brain.
yeah,
Here we
you're
go.
gonna have to think. But let's start with aging.
Let's do it.
Okay. So if you may recall, and Roman doesn't apparently, I think the aging episode was really interesting, and it was ultimately a conversation about rebranding aging,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As something exciting, something, we talked about wisdom, we talked about the excitement of aging as a privilege, and rebranding it as something exciting instead of something scary, which of course I think what we realized and knew very quickly in that episode, it's a really hard task to think about how to do that. But I think one of our biggest takeaways on that episode was that it's not age itself that people fear, it is irrelevance.
Mhm.
And that's really, really hard for people to cope with in a culture that essentially moves faster than it ever has before. I mean, you're practically irrelevant by the time you're 28. Like in the way the culture moves today and its obsession with youth, at least in American culture.
Right.
So I think we ended up talking a lot about that, the difference between irrelevance and how you create worth in the realm of aging. So that's
roughly how I remember it.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I could just be making this
Yeah,
up, by the way, and
totally.
apparently no
It was a
one
great
remembers.
episode.
So I can start because there's been something and like please jump in because there's I think we're gonna just talk about each episode maybe 5-10 minutes and then we'll get going. But
What prompted you to pick this one? What's your like post episode take on it?
well, I think it's a topic that I'm just personally so passionate about because I think that we're just losing the plot so hard as a society in terms of youth obsession. And I think one of the things that I've seen a lot of recently that I'm just like, man, aging for me is one of those things that I know what I know and I believe what I believe. And even though I study this all the time and think about it, I still get sucked in to the culture of youth. And I find that to be just mind blowing. And one of the things that has been talked a lot about recently is, have you guys seen the conversation around the forever 35-year-old face?
No.
So essentially we've like reached a point where the general like plastic surgery Botox face is like permanently 35. So everybody, even younger people, because sometimes getting Botox and facial like work done too early, it ages you.
Totally agree.
Everyone looks 35.
Right.
People who are 60 look 35. People who are 20 look 35, and everyone looks 35. And it's really interesting because I think there was two things that interested me in this just at an intellectual level. One is that plastic surgery, obviously not new, but on the rise, tracking with GLP-1s, because as people get thinner and thinner and thinner, not only do they have loose skin, but like you're like, once you get into the rabbit hole, you get in too deep. But also the rise of AI, like the smooth face that you get in AI, everybody's losing the plot on like, well, is that people think that's a real person, so they think that's what they have to look like. And so everybody's chasing this like literally like ironed out, smoothed face that's 35. And it's like erasing generational diversity. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's all I have to say about it, is that it's absolutely fucking crazy.
So,
It's nuts.
I have a completely like unrelated take to that take, but on the topic of aging, which is we mentioned off the top that a lot of what we thought about that was it was the struggle of remaining relevant. And I think that was the problem with aging, was people have a strange relationship with relevance equals youth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And then you touched on something that was something that I kind of thought about a little bit as the years continued, and we've kind of seen some of the trends that we're starting to see now, which is like, I wonder if to some degree, aging is due for a bit of a comeback because people are less interested in being caught up in the algorithm. Like there is kind of the detox thing happening.
That's interesting.
Right now. And we're starting to see that sort of surface. And it's making me wonder if
that's so cool.
Aging is actually one of those things that I'm like, I see an opportunity for it now that I didn't before.
Aging becomes the rebellion.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
What I mean?
I can totally see that happening.
Yeah.
I really can. Because I think it will, in so many ways, youth for so long was the rebellion. That was like the punk, you know. And I think you're exactly right. That's so interesting to think about how like the rejection of the algorithm of AI, of sea of sameness,
of like people wanting to be real again and feel real again, and all of that sort of stuff.
Next wave of aging is going to be acceptance.
It's going to be acceptance, and it's going to be like, it's going to be perceived as like groundedness and values in the right place,
God,
and
I
not
hope
chasing, you know what I mean?
That's
because
really
I think
cool.
the dark side of this is that with I think if we keep going the direction that we're going, and this is already happening, right? But if we keep going, age is not going to be a number. It's going to be a signal of class.
Yeah, totally.
Because if you're like,
what was that? There was that movie that literally was what you're talking about.
Oh, I don't know.
But go on,
like,
sorry.
No, I mean, if two 50-year-olds look radically different based on access to like time, money, etc., it's going to be a symbol. But I think that's the dark side. The light side, which I choose to follow, is what you're saying, which is like the acceptance becoming actually a symbol of status, almost.
I mean, there's already a bit of class and income inequality.
Oh yeah, I said it already exists.
Yeah, it already exists. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the aging one baffles. The other thing that I find really interesting is, for as much empowerment as there has been around positive aging, it doesn't seem to be making a dent. It's sort of like my own experience, what I said at the beginning, right? Well, I can sit here and say, I think it's beautiful to age, and I think it's a privilege, and I do genuinely believe all that, but I also can't help but look, when everybody else around you looks a certain way, you're like, well, shit, now I look twice as old.
But let me ask you this, because like I've seen, and again, this is like very recent, I've been putting this together, but like I'm starting to see like little like sprouts from the ground. And like one example that I see is like the older dude from that show, the HBO show that everyone loves,
White Lotus,
Walton like Goggins. Posing. And
the other guy.
Like he's 53 and like older dudes like posing.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest here, it's more common on the male side than the female side, frankly.
Yeah, that's true.
But you are seeing a little, and like even like when Pedro Pascal had the like zaddy moment and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like he's older, but he's not like, I don't think what the level that we're talking about sort of thing. It's just like, I'm starting to see things that make me go like, is this starting to change a little bit?
I agree. And there was a great article about, this is like one small thing, but I still loved reading it, but it was talking about how there's been a pretty big shift in, used to be obviously men who slept with younger women, but now there's a lot of older women sleeping with younger men. And the article was all about, is this the solution to dating? Not to like get into the dating conversation, but it was like women are like, the whole power dynamic has switched, partially because women for the first time are making more money than a lot of men. And so they're like, instead of the sugar daddy, we've got like the sugar mama, but it's kind of interesting because it is like the tiniest, you're like, just like older woman, hot. That's awesome. Love that. So yeah.
It's like, I'm like, I guess all's a long way of saying, and I guess this is kind of the purpose of this podcast, is like, I think we would have had a very different conversation about that topic today.
Yeah, totally.
Than we would have, 9 months ago now. Yeah,
that was one of the first ones. It's probably 9 months ago. But I mean, I don't know, outside of what you just said, which is like, we're seeing the rise of nostalgia is going to lead us to accepting aging. That's how I translate your point. Outside of that one, I still think everything we talked about applies. The maturity, the experience, the relevance thing, that all of this is, there's foundational thinking almost that still applies. And then there's some like cultural things that we're seeing happen that would be relevant to the conversation. But I think
what we didn't talk about really was AI and the algorithm. And I think the rebellion to that because I think we're going to see just another rapid evolution towards anti-aging.
Yeah.
And out of that rapid evolution is going to be the rebellion that Simon talked about. And I think that's really cool. So aging. Woo.
Aging.
Sleep. Should we talk about sleep?
Did we think we cracked it last time?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, early days, I thought we cracked everything. So I'm sure I said.
It was a really good one.
I'm pretty sure I said yes. No surprise. Okay, I said this, but I think sleep was maybe one of our first like heated debates where we were,
between us or the comments we got after.
Well, both. Listen, I got a lot of I got an earful from my father, who was very upset at our lack of medical knowledge on the sleep.
Hello, Mr. Unger.
Yes, Dr. Unger.
Dr. Unger, my apologies.
Yes, 20 minutes lecture I got.
We should have him on the pod.
Oh, we really should. But it was also heated between us because I think, Roman, you have a very healthy relationship with sleep. You brought the topic, I think.
I did, yeah.
Right?
So does Simon.
Yeah,
I'm in the
you
middle.
do, but Simon's a little more in the middle, and I'm sleepless. And we talk, and I think one of our big things, one of the big takeaways in this one, there was two things. One, I think we talked a little bit about the idea of like, well, actually, same takeaway. It was taking the pressure off of sleep. And I think even though we came at it from different angles, I think we all agreed that sleep has become harder, of course, because of just always on craziness around us. But it's also because we've turned sleep into a performance.
Yeah.
And so at the end, we talked about just like the more rules, trackers, and content that we add around sleep, the more pressure we put on the very thing that it requires us to actually do the opposite and just let go. And I think for me, I talked about even taking the pressure off of bad sleep. Like, because the more you feel like you're not a good sleeper, the more stressed out. So I think that was, we sort of unified around the takeaway, even though we came at it from very, very different directions. But a lot of sleep continues to be flagged as like one of the biggest growing, with longevity, one of like the biggest growing businesses
100%
in the world.
And it's, go ahead.
You go.
It's actually, I was reading a bit about it. It's actually getting better. Not like a lot better, but like people are actually sleeping a little bit more than they were even like 3 years ago.
And I think it's because people have started to talk about it. It's been a part of the conversation now for a couple of years. And it was like never.
Exactly.
Like
people
never
realized
anywhere.
it was a bigger deal.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing I keep going back to the more I thought about this one, because you had that stat, I think it was 1 in 3 people don't sleep enough or something like that. And I was just starting to wonder, I'm like, is that in some way, shape, or form, is there just a subset of people that, and we didn't talk about this enough, that's like uncurable? Do you know what I mean? Like they are just prone to bad sleep and that's the way it is.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think we talked about that correctly in the first episode.
That's a little bit of a scientific question, so I'm
Probably,
not sure.
I know, and we weren't qualified to, of course.
Like yes. Yeah. I think the biggest thing is honestly just raising awareness on the subject.
How important it is.
How important it is. Like similar, and I think we talked about that. Similar to how smoking could kill you in like the 80s and 90s when it started growing with like public health campaigns. Make sleep part of public health campaigns, right? It doesn't mean everybody can do it. It doesn't mean like everybody has the same access to all the things. But people need to know how important it is for your health. I think that's the main thing.
That makes sense.
To your point, I think we're slowly getting there.
I think I think it's a really good reference, like a parallel to the sort of PR campaign around smoking. I think that's probably helping, but also I would have to believe that GLP-1s are helping, because a lot of people who don't sleep or get bad sleep are overweight. Like there's a big correlation. I guess I don't know the percentage, so I won't make I won't make assumptions on like majority or not. Right. But when you generally, if you suffer from like sleep apnea, not always, but a lot of times it can be due to being overweight, health issues. But as we're seeing GLP-1s really, like for the first time, I think there's enough data on the GLP-1s that they saw the reverse trend in obesity in the US. I have to believe that that's contributing also to like a little bit of the uptick maybe in sleep.
The GLP-1 impact thing, like
there's going to be a dark side.
It's so
we're waiting for it.
It's such a big deal.
Yeah.
And it affects so many things.
Yeah.
Like this, like GLP-1 world that we're now entering is just affecting everything.
No, we're full on in. We're not even entering. It's like it impacts so many factors of your health.
It's
and then
crazy.
Obviously then in America, so many businesses.
Totally.
So many new opportunities. People have like ran at it and created new businesses specifically tailored to GLP-1 consumers.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
But also on the flip side, I saw, and maybe this actually is improving sleep, but I saw that there was a study that revealed that Americans are using PTO to stay home and sleep instead of taking vacation.
Well, that's interesting because that could be there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah. I'm
And
like,
it dovetails with our vacation episode
totally.
too.
And my first reaction to that was like, oh my God, this is so depressing. But then my second thought was like, oh, I don't know. That sounds like kind of nice. Like,
I mean, for anyone listening or watching, like I'm staying back in LA for the holidays this year and I'm very much looking forward to it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
And it's not specifically to sleep, but the joy of my life unencumbered by having to do things is pretty great. You know what I mean?
But I do think it shows, like, if we're still talking about trying to solve the sleep crisis, I think it does. And I think we talked about this on the last episode, but it's like many things in this country, if you can't change the system, you have to change things within it, because I think it shows like the system around us is like working people to the point of exhaustion that they need to take PTO to sleep, and we're overworked, we're over notified by like all the stuff is making our lives like better but worse. But if you can't like change corporate America and you can't change wearable culture and you can't change all of that, like then you have to find ways to work the system inside of that. And I mean, like, I wish we could change the system, but I think it's an interesting approach to solving the sleep crisis to think about what would you change within it, which is like, okay, now like sleep vacations.
I have a hot take on something related to that.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think remote work culture destroyed work-life balance.
Oh, I could not agree.
100%.
I think like the second people were like, I can work from home, isn't this great? Was also the second that you were always working and everyone thought you were okay to get a text message at 8 p.m.
Totally.
And it's 100% ruined people's like life and ability to compartmentalize. I just do this for 8 hours and then I leave.
I think I completely agree, but I think we came back from it, I think.
Do you think?
I think even remote companies have come back from it. Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think there's been like more boundaries. There's more like they're using a lot more of those like digital tools. Let's say Slack, for example.
Yeah.
And they're using more of all those features that you put in your availability. You see what I mean? Like in your Google Calendar, I'm just available from 9 to 5, from 9 to 6. Like remote companies tend to follow to use the features of the digital tools a lot more than none. I think. And that helped apply boundaries through technology.
Yeah.
I could see it. I still think part of what we're talking about is related to what you're talking about.
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I hate working from home. So I hated my couch so much after working from home for 2 years that I had to get rid of it.
I
couldn't enjoy it anymore. I hated it. It was like the bane of my existence. Looking at it was like the least relaxing thing of my life. I had to get a new one. Now I kind of miss that couch. But anyway, that's a different story. I'm going to move us on to tennis.
Yeah, we got to.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Tennis.
This is the one I have probably the least takes on. So I'm curious to see where you start.
I don't know where it goes because I remember we talked about it quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really hoping Roman has some thoughts on this one. But no, but I brought it up because it's continued to be, I think, an interesting I think pickleball is continuing to grow. I mean, if you remember that episode, I called it the great tennis versus pickleball debate, but really the topic was, how do you make sure that—
How do you save tennis?
Yeah, not like tennis is failing, but how do you make sure it doesn't fall to pickleball?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think what was interesting is we kind of went all the way around and came full circle to the idea that like tennis is not going to win by trying to beat pickleball at accessibility. Like we basically tried to think of all the ways that you could make tennis more entry friendly, more accessible. And at the end, I think we were like, tennis wins by doubling down on what it is. It's, the future of tennis is accepting the fact that it's actually harder, more demanding, less instantly gratifying. I think that was a big thing that we talked about, that pickleball is like,
all that.
Yeah. And that is how you're going to build status, I think, around tennis. One of the things I find really interesting right now, I mean, I am a tennis fan, so my feed does have a lot of tennis in it, but like, I think the upcoming match, between oh my God, now my mind is going blank. In December on Netflix, it's like the
December Netflix tennis. I don't know. Alcaraz and someone, I guess.
No.
I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
Oh my God. Anyway, it'll come back to me.
Sorry.
It's the battle of the sexes. Why can't I think of
but
that?
The battle of the sexes, the real one, the one from the 70s or the 80s?
No, it's just the two of them standing. It's
I haven't even heard of it.
Sabalenka
Wow.
and what's his freaking name? The bad boy.
Oh, Curios?
Yes.
Really?
I think they're playing each other and it's going to be on Netflix or
cool.
tomorrow.
Awesome.
Or
all right.
It's coming up. Anyway,
cool.
I'm interested. I think that's interesting because I think tennis.
That's why Sabalenka was on Jimmy Fallon, I'm guessing. I saw a clip of that. I'm like, why is she on that?
And they recently, cool. I mean, they recently did like the Kings of Tennis.
Yeah.
I'm seeing tennis a little bit more in entertainment culture, which I think is interesting but I think they're doing the right thing, which is not doing it in a way that's trying to make it more accessible. But they were called the 6 Kings of Tennis. They're like putting it on a bit of a pedestal.
They're trying to make it, to your point, entertainment more than tennis. They're trying to bring it this way. It's obviously very controversial in like
tennis,
tennis, right? It's like, oh, but it's all about the money. Where's the sport? One event that did it really well is the Laver Cup. They started, I don't know, we're probably at number 8, 9, or 10 season. I can't remember. But at the beginning, people were really like, oh, another exhibition. And people don't really care about exhibition because you never know. You always assume that the players, the athletes in whatever sport are not going to go all in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the Laver Cup's actually become a massive thing that now the fans want to watch because the tournament, the players have completely turned around and said, this is the most engaged I feel all year.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing for a team. I'm playing for a continent, like it's Europe versus rest of the world. And I want to win that thing. And obviously there's some money, but there's now some prestige, global TV, and it's like Federer's companies organizing it. And it's like, it's become a real exhibition. It may actually now be tied to the ATP points. I can't remember, but it's like, it's become real. It's interesting. And it's a lot more entertaining as a format. It's a 3-day tournament. Points can count 1 on day 1, 2 on day 2, 3 on day 3. So basically nothing. It's almost inevitable that day 3 is happening. And so you have like real tension until the end. They built a format.
Yeah, that's cool.
You have like the top players going. Some of the best singles players suddenly play doubles together. Right. So you want to see that. So they respected sort of like, to me, the legacy of tennis while adding a really good touch of entertainment to it. That makes it. And maybe I never watched the 6 Kings or the King Slams, the 6 Slams or whatever they're called. That's in Saudi. It's in different time zone. It's difficult to watch. But yeah, to your point, tennis is they're trying to keep it relevant. They tried a Netflix show. It failed miserably. They were one of the first ones to go after F1.
I think it was F1, golf, and then tennis.
It was a miserable fail.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
But they're trying, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that prompted a thought because I was slight tangent, but I'm fascinated by the LA tennis landscape and the fact that Southern California is supposed to be one of the where tennis happens in the US with like Florida, Texas, and Southern California. Those are 3 states. Florida far ahead. But there's no proper tennis academy. And there are some in Orange County. There's a couple boutique ones that are really good in like Glendale, Northeast. But LA, between like the Valley and Orange County, which is a really big area.
Not even in the Valley.
And there is some in the Valley.
Okay.
But it's a really big area.
Yeah.
With like the right audience for tennis. There's no proper thing. So I started digging. I was like curious, started looking into it. And over the weekend, I was at a youth tournament in the desert and started chatting with people. And they were like, the problem is the courts. And I'm like, but there's this whole in Carson and the Galaxy, there's this beautiful center.
Yeah.
And someone told me, yes, but the USTA, which is a US Tennis Association, was going to do something. They had the concession and they got kicked out because the whoever owns the land wanted to shift it to pickleball.
Oh, wow.
And it's one of the places that has 20 plus courts, gorgeous facilities. They're never used and they're like shifting it to pickleball. And that is right now what's happening to tennis.
Wow.
It's like pickleball is more profitable. Put 4 courts on 1 tennis court And so they make a lot more from it.
I have seen, I don't think we talked about this. I can't remember, but hopefully no one else remembers either. But in case we did, but I do feel like I'm starting to see just the beginnings of the fatigue of pickleball. Like the biggest thing I keep seeing is the noise pollution of it, and how many people are actually starting to complain to have like the pickleball courts banned from the, if it's in a neighborhood, if it's like too close to the houses, or at least putting like a time limit on it, because the noise is pretty awful.
It's the noise of the sport itself and the noise of the culture of the sport, because people go, which is great. They go there as entertainment, and they blast the music.
Gotcha.
Too, and the racket and the plastic ball, like all of it. Yeah.
Pinging.
I think that sport's gonna like either come and stay or come and go, and I'm just in a different lane than that sport.
But also
you're
now,
just watching from the sides.
Like I don't see a world where,
I don't know if it'll get as big, but I'm seeing so many paddle
padel
places pop up. And so I'm like, this is also interesting, because now we have like a third contender,
right?
That's sort of in my mind sits between the two.
It does. It's a very different sport.
Oh, yes.
You have paddle, which is kind of pop tennis in the US, and then you have padel, which is like the Mexican-born, Spanish-adopted, the one that you have like you're basically in a full cage,
like kind of like squash.
Yeah, but you have
like
two sides.
Gotcha.
You have a net in the middle.
I want to play.
You only play dubs.
Right.
This one is the next one that's going to explode. It started to show up in LA. There's tons in Miami.
Yeah, a ton of them.
And there's like a lot of private equity firms that are on it and investing in clubs.
So
we'll see. Trying to recreate the club vibe with those.
Yeah.
That doesn't that you only have in private clubs in the US and tennis.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's public courts and there's no club. So they're trying to recreate that vibe of like it's also a social place.
I think that's going to be a bigger threat to tennis culture overall than pickleball is, because I think at least if we believe what we talked about, like pickleball and tennis should just stay in separate lanes. They're for different. It's a different thing. One is accessible party. One is sort of like status exclusive. But I think that padel could be more of a threat potentially from like the club perspective.
You know why it's not going to be?
Why?
Because there's a lot of mutual love between both.
Oh, so they'll just
tennis
join up. Well, then
padel.
Maybe that's how it's going to
and vice versa
take down pickleball.
It could, yeah.
Except the great alliance.
Yeah, it was like when
2026.
skateboarders and BMXers rallied against rollerbladers.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's the same thing.
That's crazy. Actually,
the difference is for those three sports, as much as you hate it as one of those athletes, you can still share the physical space.
Yeah,
and it's not the case in the other thing.
Yeah. Okay, should we talk about dating?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay, so Simon, you weren't with us on that episode. I
was not.
So you're going to have takes. We can start it from scratch.
Simon, dating. What are your takes? No, I mean, we know that you took a ton of girlfriends to the mall.
A mall guy.
A mall guy, big mall date guy.
In my early teens.
That was actually a joke that came up in the mall episode that we already released. Simon told us it took so many dates to the mall.
Yeah, and Roman said, how many?
Yeah, it was good.
Don't want to put a number on it. Yeah. Respect all those wonderful women. No need to bring them out.
Incredible. This is incredible. And that's all we need to say on dating, really.
Yeah, we're done.
We talked about how dating sucks. And I think the consensus was, It does. And I think the more, at least that I've seen come out.
Okay, so why does it suck?
Wait, hold on.
Shout out to SJ. She was wonderful.
She was
episode.
Incredible. Our guest on that episode, absolutely hilarious and brilliant and very funny conversation. Yeah. But I'll tell you the consensus, right? Like not just that it sucked, but I think what's happening other than I think the big aha was that dating, especially through the appification of dating, has essentially been optimized to minimize risk and curiosity. So like by reducing emotional risk so effectively, the culture around dating has also stunted this sense of like we talked on that episode about you should go have a bad date. Like that's okay. Or you should have a date. Everybody's looking to like find their partner. So because we all have all of this language and there's the excess of options on these dating apps. If people have one date that's not like, oh my God, sparks were flying, they're like, well, better go back to the app and like never go on a second date. And it used to be like, it takes time to get to know somebody. There's less curiosity. We talked a little bit about flipping the mirror onto yourself and being like, maybe I'm on a journey and like learning about myself. And so I think I don't think that we solved how to make dating better, but I think we got into a lot of how it's sort of gone wrong. And
it's tough. I don't want to open up a conversation that I wasn't in.
You should.
It doesn't matter.
Then you should do it.
Because like you said something interesting, which is like, it sounds like there is one side of like people always trying to look for exactly the right person. And these apps do an absolutely horrible job of that thing that a lot of technology and non-human experiences fail at, which is like on paper makes sense. In reality does not make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the other thing too, is that like, for better or for worse, like I know people of all genders who use them to hook up to great success, aren't looking for anything serious, and they use them for different reasons than specifically looking for the right person. Now, with that said, everyone I know, like, again, I've been in a monogamous relationship with my lovely wife for a very long time and have not had a date where there was any stakes in it because I was taking my wife out. You know what I mean? And
those stakes are still high.
There's stakes, but there's not like, are you the right person stakes?
Yeah,
They're
totally.
different stakes.
Totally.
But with all that said, like everyone I know, to your point, that is single in my life has had I'm just so sick of the apps.
Yeah, it's awful.
You know what I mean?
And what I think is interesting, we were just talking about this morning with Biz, is there's just been a shift now. Even I think Bumble is sort of doubling down back on apps for meeting friends rather than for dating.
Yes.
Because, and what I think is interesting about it is like every classic, like, stereotypical love story, if you will, sort of starts with the concept of like, it's about friendship first.
Yeah.
And then friendship turns to love.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I think it's actually interesting because they're doing it because people are lonely and people want friends, and it makes sense with the cultural momentum that we're in and the cultural mood, I should say. But I actually wonder if the outcome of focusing on friendship is actually that it's going to make dating better for people.
I would go a step further, and this is potentially a hot take. I think the amount of people who are good hangs has just gone down.
Yeah.
What makes you say that? Because I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but how can we assess that?
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you.
Simon just thinks
I just think
boring.
that like I think people in general don't have as much interesting stuff to say.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have lost the gift of gab. Like I think
that just an age thing?
No. I totally.
I mean, think about when you go to a restaurant
this is not me
and
saying,
everyone.
this is not me saying the kids these days don't know how to talk to people. I think this is culture wide. People are more into their phones.
Yeah.
They're having less bullshit chats, which is great practice for having a chat with a stranger, which is great chats for having a chat with a friend that you're going to chat with. All of that stuff. I think there's way less good hangs than there used to be.
Yeah.
And the key to a good date, even if you don't like the person, is it a good hang? And
Totally.
and if you don't have, if it's like going to a market and all the food is there, but it's all like bad quality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it could be the best market in the world. It could be the coolest way.
But it also ties back again to the drinking conversation.
Totally.
Because like we talked about this, and at the beginning I was like, oh, we're going to promote drinking, which is like basically we're not supposed to. And then I started looking a little bit, and I did hear that thing happen again on drinking. On a big podcast, the dude was saying, if we want to help young people, they need to go back into accepting drinking, entertaining through drinking.
Yeah. Hanging out.
I found it like fascinating that now it's become, it's slowly in culture that people are allowed to say, hey, why don't you have a drink? Like, you see what I mean? And it's like, and I'm not saying like drinking as in become alcoholic, but like social drinking. And it's crazy.
Just wait until after our vacation episode, I saw something, I know I shared it, but it was about how doctors are starting to prescribe vacation to people who are burnt out. Just wait until they're prescribing drinking to cure depression and loneliness.
You should go for a beer with a friend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My professional recommendtion is that you go grab a beer with a friend.
Grab a beer with a friend. Yeah. Honestly, have 2 beers with a friend. It's great.
It's great. Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. Especially if they're a good hang.
Yeah. There was it's not exactly dating related, but this article got passed around a lot. It was just really, really interesting about this is the ultimate proof about how much dating culture sucks and how big that narrative is, even for people who aren't, like what you just said, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not in the dating world, but even you have heard from other people. Yeah. And so there was this article, I think it was in The Cut, about how women, you guys remember quiet quitting, like when everyone was quiet quitting work? Yeah. Well, apparently women are now quiet quitting their husband's. It's such a good article.
I know people who've done that, both husbands and wives.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's an amazing read.
Yeah.
Describe.
Really, so it's basically, they're like, look, I'm not really into this, but like, I'm too exhausted to deal with it. And
so depressing.
And also I don't want to deal with like the dating part afterwards. So I'm just going to basically build like a separate life quietly. Not like, oh, I'm going to go have a boyfriend or girlfriend on the side, like separate life, but like they're just in the marriage.
I'm going to get really into scuba diving.
They're just like, exactly. Picking up hobbies, quitting their husbands. They're sleeping in other rooms, like just slowly, just like people quiet quit work. And I thought it was, it was really well written and it was funny,
a few
but
people doing that.
It's really interesting just because that's how much
so
people
you stay in the marriage, you just develop another life within your marriage.
And and not like another life is in like a secret relationship.
Rabbit hole into that passion, and it's going to take like 20 hours of your week every week, and that's going to be your thing with your friends,
you're like,
not with your partner.
Actually, I sleep better in another room.
That's
so
sad.
like now we're going to sleep in another room.
That's so sad.
And so they're just but they're like, because I don't want to, because like, look, I'm whatever. It's mostly women over 40, and they're just like,
it's so sad when you think of it.
Yeah, it's really sad because that's your life, man.
Yeah, but, it's so sad. Yeah. Like, just better be solo. Like, even if you don't want to date.
I know, but like that takes so much. I mean, of course, there's financial pressures, which of course mostly women still experience more of the financial burden of separation. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of course, kids complicate things. But I was like, oh my God, women quiet quitting their husbands is rough, because they're like, well, dating sounds like it would be awful. So I'd rather just like do me.
Listen, be a good hang. Start by being a good hang, right?
That's all.
Because I have a feeling if you have a good hang, if you're a good hang and you go on a date, people want to hang out with you. And then at that point, you have a better idea. Because here's my skepticism around dating in general. I am going to get some serious hate mail from this, which is,
let's fucking
have you ever heard the if you meet more than 2 assholes in a day, chances are you're the asshole?
Yeah.
100%.
I just have a feeling a lot of people suck at talking to people.
Okay. I think if we're going to do like a PR campaign to people, I think our line is, dating doesn't suck, you do.
Exactly. Like, that's my thing, is I'm like, before you're like, well, I didn't like any of them, I'm like, how are you to hang out with? Let's just talk about that for a second.
You're the problem. I'm with you, Simon.
What do your friends think of you?
Why are you mad at the apps?
How many friends do you have? Do you have a lot of friends?
Get interesting.
Are you interesting? What are you bringing to this conversation?
I love this.
Like, this isn't a store. You don't just come in and buy a date and go, great, I got a date, I will take it home. I got my good date. You have to be a part of the date.
Yeah.
So show up and have something to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
case closed.
All right, let's get them a beer next time.
My
again.
God, I love it. Okay, last one, and then I got a little rapid fire.
You have a rapid fire surprise.
Last one is college. Okay. Man, there's been so much around college.
This one actually,
like really so much. So
we came off not how I think we wanted to come off. But you tell me if you disagree.
Say again. It was
let me give you. Can I give you the quick recap? Okay, so I think our biggest thing was I think we acknowledge that, like, you kind of in that conversation, as we often do, you have to put aside the one thing that you cannot fix, right? Which in this was cost. Like college is ridiculously expensive.
Yes.
And so at some point, I think we were sort of like, let's just put that aside, because like we could just sit here all day and be like, but it's too expensive, but it's too expensive.
Yeah.
And I think if we put that aside, our general take was college is still worth it, not because it guarantees a job, but because it forces a little bit of like a compressed life experience that you're not going to get anywhere else. It's like a safe place to fail, a safe place to experiment, and a safe place to learn. And I'm with you, because I think we were sort of like, just go have experiences.
Yeah. You know what the fatal flaw was? Calling it, is college worth it? And then having a conversation that didn't include the cost of college.
Yeah.
Because
well, we did, but I think we put it aside.
Exactly. Like, is college worth going into immense debt for? Like, well, it's a
big question.
For most, I'll say this, for most degrees at most colleges, no.
Yeah. I think what we talked about is the very almost inarguable benefit of college, but is it worth going into debt for $200,000?
Right.
Maybe not.
Exactly.
The biggest conversation today, I don't think, is that. I think remove the money, and is it actually worth? Is it going to teach you anything?
Yeah.
Right.
I was listening to this podcast a couple of weeks ago. This dude who's like a doctor, like a surgeon turned entrepreneur, maybe, a couple decades older than we are. And I remember he said, if you don't get accepted today in a top 20 global university, top 20, that's
so like
not
Cambridge,
a lot.
Harvard,
MIT, Harvard, Cambridge,
Sorbonne,
Oxford, not even Sorbonne, that's a public one. Like really top 20, that's not many. He was like, don't even bother.
That seems crazy to me.
And he was exaggerating a little bit because he's selling a book that's called like Don't Go to College. But his point was some like education programs will really teach you something that's gonna create differentiation for you in the marketplace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you want to create differentiation, you can do it yourself. He wasn't saying just stay home on the couch. He was like, go out there, get a job young, learn, be curious, travel with like the few dimes that you have. Sure. Like, it was like, get shit done yourself.
Right.
Because with that and a really, really good use of AI, not as a productivity tool, but as an education tool,
you can
go a very long way.
Right.
So he was like, stop using AI as a just, hey, help me figure out like how to fix my...
How do I write an email?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Use it as education. Like use it as a teacher. Go learn things pretty deep about history, about economy, about mathematics, that most colleges will actually teach you.
But you have
Only
to have
the best will go further.
You have to have discipline and curiosity to do
Doesn't
that.
apply to everyone. But like in principle, it was an interesting take.
But did you see the article about High Point University in North Carolina? So North Carolina has a lot of like pretty competitive schools. And so here's High Point University, which had not really been known for when you think about like UNC, Duke. Like Chapel Hill, there's some, I won't name my own alma mater from North Carolina because that feels really conceited.
You've already said it.
No, it wasn't. I turned down High Point actually. Let it be known. But it was interesting because High Point at one point was like, we can't compete. But what they now have become a beacon for really wealthy families.
I hated that article.
I know, but it was interesting. It was interesting.
So what they do?
So they basically were like, we're not there's sort of what Romain was talking about. Instead of selling like classes, and I mean, you still go to classes,
basically,
right?
But they're selling the soft skills.
They're like, we're going to teach you actual skills. So their sort of pitch is like, High Point is more than degrees. It's about life skills. Our students learn practical wisdom and career skills that prepare them for success in any field. So for example, they have a mock airplane on campus that prepares them for like sitting next to a random person
in business class and having
and
Do
like
they have a how to be a good date class?
and stuff. Yeah, maybe they should.
I can teach that one.
How to be a good hang.
They have
Be a
seminars
good
like
hang.
on topics how to land a job, how to pitch yourself, how to thrive in the workplace. So they're
But like
shifting their
at a high level, like they are charging crazy tuition, and this is.
I mean, it's not one of the most expensive schools in North Carolina. I'm sure
but you
they've
still have
like,
to pay
but yeah,
for it.
you still have to pay.
yeah, it's not. But
College.
because
It's college. It's
this
the
sounds
college-
like it could be an
my-
online course. Is what
No,
I'm getting at.
but it's like if you get the benefit of what we talked about. I'm not saying I buy into it, but the benefit of the 4 years of life experience away from, but also learn the practical skills.
Yeah.
That, like it's sort of an interesting proposition, and it's been working for them. Like they've attracted a lot of actually wealthy families in
I can see there's a
particular.
market right now
Yeah.
because of weirdly the thing I was talking about with dating, which is I think a lot of people have lost that.
Yeah.
So if you were like, hey, here we're going to teach that, I'm skeptical how successful people can be through that.
Yeah, totally.
But it's interesting.
They're on like the complete opposite end of the spectrum though, and I loved this article because it sort of disproves everything that we're saying, which is like back to what you were saying, Roman, about if you don't get into a top 20, don't go, and like people are sort of questioning education. Apparently Gen Z is flocking to SEC schools right now.
They are.
Yeah.
And big public schools
We
too.
talked about it.
We talked about it.
And they're
Yeah.
doing it because those schools are winning on experience
Yes.
density.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But also, and this is a bummer, but those schools, mostly in this, like these Southern schools, they're visually and socially aspirational on social media.
Right. Yeah.
So like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with something called Rush Talk, which is like the whole TikTok moment in time when people rush sororities, and it's a whole moment in time on TikTok.
I saw it. Yes.
Yes, every
It's
year
insane.
during Rush, like Rush Talk sort of takes over, but it's literally driving people to these schools.
Totally.
So it's really interesting, the desire for like the sports, the fun, the like the entertainment of it all is actually having an impact.
I mean, there are dark sides of it. I don't have a problem with that as a whole, though. Like, I think if you want to go to a school with a great football team because you want to be part of the experience of like going to football games and stuff like that, that's the tradition that all colleges have been selling forever. And some of them have used it to better effect than others. You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's interesting. My stance on this is still like, the price is ridiculous. And I think until it gets fixed, it's always going to be tough to have that conversation, because I do think people wouldn't be so like, it's like that weird thing. It's specifically in the United States, which is like, this conversation is not happening in Canada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone goes like, yeah, go to college. It's good.
The conversation, the point I was bringing is happening in France, where good education is free, because the point is you will not learn anything because AI will do it for you. And that, not only about what you can learn, but what as a worker you can do, and how AI will replace certain jobs.
Worker thing,
and so that's to me, that's the conversation now. It's like, what is, and one generation, which is the one of our children, is going to have to be like a bit of a test and learn. Some are going to be probably trying out not to go to college, and maybe they're going to figure it out, and they're going to get ahead of the other ones without having like 4 or 5 years of like college debt and 4 or 5 years entering the marketplace later. Some of them are probably going to lose. But it's a generation that's going to have to try it.
If one of your kids comes to you and says, I don't want to go to college, I'm going to use AI to just educate myself, and here's what I'm going to do, what's your response?
I would have to see the plan. Like, honestly,
What's the plan, man?
Like, here's what I'm going to do.
Because
that's the detail.
The problem, the thing, it's like, it's the same problem I have with remote work, which is like, there is something to be said to bumping into people who all have sort of the same goals in mind and interacting and stuff like that. And like, speaking personally, like I tried remote work over COVID for a while. And if you're telling me like, hey, what if your education system was like that reduced to you and AI? I'm like, oof,
absolutely not.
Yeah,
I don't
you had
like
you had a pretty good beard though.
If the plan involves, I'm with Simon, like some so very strong, important social components where you can still learn from people, then I'll look at it.
Is there a mentorship thing? And like, look, like I think the other thing too, that like there's kind of like two things that we're slightly pushing against together, which is like, I think education in an AI world is going to catch up to understanding like practices of working with AI in education. I'm bullish on that.
Okay.
But,
wait, sorry. Did you read the article about how colleges are preparing to self-lobotomize? That was the title of this article, which was about this. And I do think it's really interesting because they were basically like all of these, well, first of all, in that article, I learned that the plural to curriculum is curricula, not curriculums, apparently.
Latin.
Yeah, makes sense. Checks out. But also they were talking about all of these universities rushing to implement learning AI.
yeah.
And by doing that, you're actually going to destroy the very thing that you need to help people do, which is like in the age of AI, what people are going to need the most out in the workforce is like, so creativity, being able to recognize all the information. And now that's what you need to teach.
I totally agree. A whole nother hour, but that's the thing we don't know.
Yeah,
the thing we don't know is what the workplace is going to look like.
Yeah, it's true.
That's where the tension lies. Like you don't know what you need to prepare the kids for because you don't know what the for looks like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where it's like, should I go to college? Should I not? If I can't afford to pay college for my kids and they enter like good to decent colleges, of course I'm going to send them to college.
On top of that too.
Because I'm like less of a risk.
If there's if there becomes a stream where people go, if you do that and you just do things with AI, you actually have a better job than these people in 4-year courses. Like that might happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like companies are starting to say, we're going to take kids who don't have a college degree.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Who show certain like obviously values, appetite for like learning things, like really like the go-getters. And they're going to teach them some things in some kind of like company like curriculum in the first couple of years as they do the job.
Right. Yeah, but I don't know if you remember, I brought data on that, which is all those companies that are saying it, they're not actually hiring.
I know, that's the thing. Yeah. It's like
because they still want to hire. It's like when any industry is like,
now.
You know what would be cool is we should hire people that like don't know anything about this industry and then
we'll teach them.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. I want to do the rapid
we'll
fire.
Move on.
Okay.
That one we could have talked about forever.
Close off the year with a rapid fire. We have no idea what's happening.
You have no idea what's coming. There's two components to this. We are going to do something called this or that.
This or that.
And then I'm going to do a final rapid fire. Both of these things are about, we're predicting the future now, guys. We're looking ahead
so this
into
is for next year?
2026.
I have a feeling.
We're looking ahead into 2026.
Okay, cool. Let's go.
So on this first chunk, there is no debate here. You have to choose a side. You cannot say both.
Say it?
Oh, yes.
Okay, no description of why. Just say it.
Just say it.
Start with one and go.
Okay, so wearables in the future. Do you think wearables are going to be a true health companion or corporate surveillance?
Second one.
First one.
Corporate surveillance for sure. Travel in the future. Do you think it's going to be really about personal expansion and self-development, or is it just luxury escapism?
Luxury escapism.
Yeah, second one.
Social media. Are we finally going to move to smaller, more intimate platforms, or are we just going to descend deeper into the madness?
So we're talking about for this upcoming year, not forever going forward.
Next year.
Next year. Just next year.
The future,
the future.
Wait, okay, but...
However you want to think about it.
Yeah, so I think social media has lost the meaning of social media. It's become just entertainment. So
intimate platforms are deeper into the rabbit hole of madness.
Deeper into the rabbit hole.
I'm going to say intimate platforms.
Okay, functional food, like the health and wellness food. Is healthy actually making room, like healthy and wellness, is it actually making room for indulgence, or is it going to really become about discipline again?
Indulgence.
Indulgence is
discipline
is going to make a comeback. Yeah.
Entertainment. Are we going to actually crave deeper, more meaningful stories or more mind-numbing distractions? Are we trying to like run away from it all or find meaning in it all?
That's a tough
wishful
one.
thinking, but I'm hoping for the meaning is going to make a comeback, and the indie and the stories and the arts. But
I agree.
Okay, final rapid fire. What trend was overrated this year?
Ooh, I don't know what trends there were for the year.
Oh, come on. Anything. I'll give you mine.
Not in terms of yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, protein. Overrated.
I don't think so. It's massive business.
I didn't say it wasn't. I just think it was overrated.
Looking, what's it called? Late 90s, early 2000s nostalgia.
Overrated.
Yeah.
I told you were going to have to use your brains.
I don't have brains.
I don't have brains.
What was
brains overrated in 2025?
The nerds candy thingy.
Oh, the nerds clusters.
Nerds clusters.
Overrated.
Overrated.
I
Completely overrated.
I'm with you on that as a candy connoisseur.
Yeah. Connoisseur. Self-proclaimed.
I mean, truly.
All right, let's go.
What underrated?
What was underrated?
Underrated. Something that you saw that you were like, oh man, I really wanted that to become more of a thing. Mine was slow living.
As in like this
everyone kept
awesome.
talking about like, this is going to be the new thing, slow living. And I was like, yeah. And it just like underrated. Like we just didn't take it where it needed to go.
The brick phone kind of like thing,
that
which
stuff.
is in the same category.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, I'll give you the next one. What's one category that desperately needs a villain again?
Oof.
I know it's hard.
Well, it's top of mind because we talked about it, but I think like this whole health tracking wearables thing needs a bit of like a
villain,
a slap in the face to come back to reality.
I hadn't thought about it until Simon said it, but dating. Simon gave the ultimate villain. It's you and your boring ass self.
Yeah, I wonder if wellness needs a bit of a villain.
Yeah. My last question is what's the next sport that's going to break through? What do you think the next
what do you call breakthrough, like culture?
Like just the way that pickleball did, just the way that like F1 did. What do you think the next sport is going to be?
This is a cop-out answer. I think women's sports is going to continue to grow.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, I think roller skating.
Ruby roller skates around the house.
That's why
she literally gets home, puts them on, and then she just roller skates the entire everywhere.
I think trail running. Yeah.
Cool.
Because it's now cool.
Yeah.
So after something is cool, it becomes mass, generally speaking. So I think trail running.
It's going to be.
They're going to have to figure out
that's interesting.
The how to package that for entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, how do you build characters out of it? How do you make it?
Not necessarily, because if you look at how running between, in the 80s, 90s, you were running down the street, says Phil Knight in his book, and you were seen as an alien and people were screaming at you. And today it's just like,
no, I mean the entertainment, percentage. Like if it really wanted to go, like
I don't know that it needs to. That go through entertainment to do it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's a wrap on 2025. Crack it in an hour.
Woo!
I don't know how I feel about my answers already. I'm like, how do I feel about that?
Rapid fire is interesting. I think we need to think about some formats like that for next year at the end of some episodes.
It's tough.
It's
but
interesting.
To be on the spot,
it's interesting.
I like it.
Maybe we'll end like.
Good job, Jesse.
Thank you,
Jesse,
guys.
that was awesome.
Fun.
It was fun to do a different format.
Reminisce.
It was an awesome year. We're very appreciative of all the loyal followers that we have.
Yeah,
it's
thank
been
you.
Pretty nuts. So
it's been great.
Thanks so much for following us along for this first season
of
Crack It in an Hour.
Season 2 coming soon.
Yeah.
First of all, happy holidays. I hope you get some rest. And thank you all for listening. We'll see you in 2026.
Woo.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Crack It in an Hour. If you like the show, please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you have questions, thoughts, or feedback, shoot us an email at hello@crackitpodcast.com or on Instagram @crackitpodcast. Music done by Michael Anastasi, cover art shot by Mick Mint, and all things audio and video taken care of by Nathan Nash. See you next time.